welcome to an episode of QI that is jam-packed with J words. Joining me to joust and jostle in tonight's J-themed jamboree are the jazzy Bill Bailey, the jet-propelled Jimmy Carr, the jasmine-scented Victoria Coren, and that jolly jackanapes Alan Davis. Now we have fantastically obscure and recondite J buzzers. Bill goes... That's a jarana.
It's a jarana, yes.
It's a Mexican percussive.
Yes, you strum it with a gel.
Exactly. And Victoria goes... That's a Finnish instrument called a UNCUT. And Jimmy goes...
I'd imagine I'll get this. Good. Good, correct. Well, I think we both know. Tell them.
It's actually it's a Russian instrument. It's a halalaika. And finally, Alan goes...
Jewish harp.
It is. It was originally called a Jaws harp because it's played rang in the mouth like that. Anyway, to get you in the mood, what do these unfamiliar J words mean?
Oh,
lots of
jank. I've heard of
Janker.
jankers.
And
That's an army thing, isn't it?
Yes, jankers is an army punishment, isn't it?
Cleaning latrines or peeling 10,000
That's
tubs.
right. You put on jankers.
It looks like lots of them are minced oaths.
What was that? A minced?
Minced oaths, like saying fudge or sugar, like a powderised version of a swear word.
It's like saying bicarbonate of soda,
Or shut the front door.
or fuck crying out loud.
Have you ever said that, though, really?
What, fuck crying out
Fuck crying out loud.
Works very well.
Have you?
Or fuck Christ's sake, yeah.
Or photographers that
Yeah.
follow you. Why don't you just photograph someone else?
Jollop?
It's a juice, some sort of unguent, some sort of
Unguent.
fluid.
A jollop is actually a Turkish wattle.
I'm going to say bluff. Sorry, is it the wrong game?
It's a good word. It's a good word, yeah. Or it can mean a strong liquor.
Jollop.
Yeah.
Strong liquor.
Which is
Don't.
maybe where wild...
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
Hey.
I was gonna, but I didn't.
And gentacular... Gentacular...
Is this what friends of Jennifer Aniston say, how she looks before she goes out?
Spectacular.
No, it means pertaining to breakfast.
Oh, it does
It
not.
really does.
Why?
I know,
But
really-
why do you need that, though, in your life?
Well, you have a lunchy word. It's a lunchy type of thing. It's a breakfasty type of thing.
What on
What's a
earth?
lunch word, then?
So you would say toast is a bit gentacular?
Yeah.
This toast is gentacular.
Yeah.
When has anyone ever said that, ever?
These are unusual words, I grant you.
Wow.
But no, it's like pandiculate means to yawn, but you'd never use it in that sense, would you?
No.
You'd just say yawn, because we've got the word yawn.
So, OK, so we don't need to know that word, is what you're saying?
No. But
So I need to forget that now, because that's taken up vital space I need for pin numbers, really useful things in my brain.
But just
Not what I should say about breakfast. Ooh, it's 11. Oh, I said gentacular, what an idiot!
Here, really, to astonish you,
Go
is
on.
one of these words on this board has 28 separate meanings. And I'm going to put those meanings up, and you tell me which word it is. Back passage, vagina, penis, jobby...
Jollops. Junt.
Jobby, you think? Jigger. We're getting a lot of jiggering from the audience. Ouija
It
board,
must be jigger.
Golf
I'm
club.
with jigger.
Jigger is the right answer. I'm going to share 5 points with Victoria and 5 points with the audience.
Wow.
The word jigger has all those definitions. It's a measuring device, a jigger of rum.
Yes.
A snooker rest, an odd-looking person, Bill. Sorry, I'm just an odd-looking person. A distillery. Look,
Don't say vagina and then point to me.
penis,
Again.
and woman's coat. That's a nice thingamy.
You see,
Door,
now,
pulley.
people do complain that there aren't any good words for vagina. There's no way of saying it that sounds nice. Jigger is not the answer.
I think Twinkle Cave. It's a less offensive term for a foo-foo.
So, sorry. So, jigger is back passage, vagina, penis...
Well, that's confusing
flea,
right there.
straight away.
Just stick it in a jigger. What?
Yeah.
You're going to have to be more specific, love.
jigger 1 or jigger 2? It's also a golf club, so if you ask your caddy, do you think I should pull my jigger out for this job? What do you think?
Yeah, get your jigger out, rest it on your jigger, stick it in my jigger, mind the jigger.
What about Ouija board? You're at a
Ouija?
party and let's all put our fingers together on your jigger. It's moving. Is it doing that by itself, or are we making...
Potter's wheel. That was what they used to put on the TV when they ran out of programmes.
Yeah.
Just put the jigger on. Not that one!
Anyway. Certain
A revolving jig. No.
Certain words do double duty, certain words do triple duty. Words like jigger seem to do multiple duty. But what did Dr. Johnson tie up with his padlock?
Did he bury his cheese to stop it getting burnt in the fire?
I think you're confusing him with Samuel Pepys. Who did indeed bury a Parmesan cheese in his garden.
They're very valuable.
In 1666, which was 60 years before Johnson.
So he's the guy that did the dictionary, right?
One of the many things he did, he wrote Rasselas, he was one of the greatest literary figures of his age. But he was physically, I won't say disabled exactly, but he was a victim of many of the diseases of the age.
Gout.
Scrofula, gout, yeah.
All that gout,
and
didn't
things
they?
like that.
What is scrofula?
Scrofula used to be called the king's evil.
Yes.
And it's
Inflammation of the jigger.
that would more or less cover it.
Sorry, I'm a question late, but I'm suddenly thinking about those meanings of jigger. Do you think that's where jiggery-pokery comes from?
Oh, my goodness!
It really might.
That's true, in both senses. You could poke...
I think you'll find it's more... Oh, no, well, it could be, I suppose. Yeah, no, fine.
Yeah. It could, if you're having fun on the farm, be piggery-jokery. Yes, there's the thought. But anyway, Dr. Johnson was half-blind and scarred by scrofula.
Oh.
He also had the usual array of 18th century maladies. Palsy, dropsy, gout, flatulence.
He had massive white headphones.
Yeah. And he suffered from OCD and probably from Tourette syndrome. He was...
The man that wrote the dictionary had Tourette's. I've got to reread that book.
He gestured wildly, and it seemed to be a tic, and we would probably now call it Tourette's.
I think that's rather beautiful if somebody who suffered from Tourette's created the dictionary.
I know, it is.
Total verbal control. How lovely if Johnson, if he had that form of Tourette's where he couldn't control his spoken language, to make a dictionary. I think that's very poetic.
It would be rather, wouldn't it? He was prone to seizures and outbursts.
Himself.
Yeah, he went to live with Mrs. Hester Thrale in Streatham. He was deeply in love with Mrs. Thrale, and he basically said to her, I have a padlock and chain, and at any moment when I seem to be out of control, I'm now giving you permission in advance to chain me up.
Wow.
I know a woman in Streatham that will still do that.
Yes.
And she's surprisingly reasonable.
Sadly, what happened was that Mr. Thrale died, and instead of Hester Thrale marrying Johnson, she went off to Italy and married a very young, handsome Italian. And
I don't know if that's sad for her. It sounds like that's gone quite well.
Sad for Johnson.
Was he prone to just lash out?
To flail. He was prone to flail. So Dr. Johnson liked to be tied up and padlocked. When I say he'd like to be, I can quote you what Mrs. Thrale said about it. This is quite surprising and advanced for its age, yeah. She said here, says Johnson, a woman has such power between the ages of 25 and 45 that she may tie a man to a post and whip him if she will. And added the footnote, this he knew of himself was literally and strictly true. So he obviously did like to be whipped.
Last tied up.
Yep, that's right. So, there we are. What's the one thing we can all agree Hitler, Stalin and Franco got right and Mussolini got wrong?
Mussolini surrendered.
There's something the three mustachioed dictators loathed and detested, but that actually Mussolini rather liked.
Pasta.
Yes.
So you want about Simon Sharma? He'd never come up with that.
Let's stick with the letter J.
Jackets with jeans, like Clarkson.
No.
Oh, was it double denim?
That again doesn't really begin with J.
J, does it?
J. Jizz.
The 20th century.
J.
Yes! You're close. The 20th century.
I'm close.
20th century. You've only got
20th
one
century.
vowel.
Jazz.
Jazz. Jazz. Jazz music. I disagree with this question, basically. Our very, very naughty people have suggested that Hitler, Stalin and Franco were right for disliking jazz. I personally love jazz.
So you're saying that Hitler didn't like jazz?
Not just didn't
The
like
more
it.
I hear about this guy, the less I like it.
I know. I agree. But jazz was, to the Germans, was inimical, absolutely. They thought it was total evil. They thought it was completely against everything they stood for.
But people presumably did listen to it, though, in great numbers. There's
Yeah.
a bit of... There's a bit of yow,
Yeah.
There's a bit of that of an evening, and then as soon as the SS come around, turn it off.
But Mussolini, oddly enough, for all his faults, and let's face it, there were many and grievous.
Well.
He listened to jazz in private. His son Romano was one of post-war Italy's most celebrated jazz musicians. He played with Dizzy Gillespie, Duke Ellington, and Chet Baker. You can't get much higher than that in the jazz world.
I know what they mean, though. Just Bill clicking his fingers there, I felt the urge to do very bad things.
But it is an odd thing.
I got the best seat this evening.
You got it. Is that how they would scare German machine gun, outposts? They just creep up there.
Yeah. They're firing regularly, and you fire syncopated.
Yeah.
But it was quite important. I mean, I read One for the Road, and also spent a little bit of time in South Africa, and in both those places, jazz clubs are very important culturally.
Absolutely. Oh, in South America, South Africa, huge.
Underground, illegal, likely to be shut down with disastrous consequences for all who take part, but really quite important. So hard to imagine it being that.
But it was a symbol
very
of,
important.
like rock and roll, as rock and roll became, it became a symbol of defiance. And in Paris, it was hugely important, wasn't it?
Wasn't that Hitler's thing with comedy as well? Well, he didn't like Jewish comedy because he felt like if you laughed with someone, and presumably the same thing with music, if you enjoy their
couldn't
music,
help liking them.
you couldn't hate them.
What you're experiencing there is cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance is exactly right.
think you'll find your way, that's what it
Take
is.
the audience and the ladies and gentlemen at home through cognitive
Never
dissonance.
mind them. Take me through cognitive dissonance.
No, but it's exactly what you described. It's the ability to hold two opposing opinions at the same time. They seem to contradict each other, but actually, yet humans can do that.
Yeah.
Here's cognitive dissonance. Here I am on QI, like you see on the television, sitting by there. It's quite nice, everyone seems nice, I'm having a nice time.
Yeah.
And yet, we've had the question, what did Hitler get right? Which is exactly what my grandmother told me would happen if I went on television. Last night, I had an anxiety dream about coming on here. I was so terrified of it. And in the dream, I was sitting here, I think I was on the other side, and you were asking the question very sternly.
No.
Yes. The question was, why was the March hare so important to the Aztecs? And I didn't know the answer. And did they worship it? And the screens went, worship it, worship it. Which was absolutely terrifying.
Stephen, ask the question, let's make it happen.
Yes, come on.
I'm such an amateur, I didn't even Google the answer.
That's an amazing dream.
It is a good
That's
dream,
very
isn't it?
specific. You know, it's not like... I mean, I dream, I went up to the shops and bought some milk and some bread, and I wake up, I go, oh, where is it? And... I thought, I'm sure I went up the shop and got it, but clearly, that's a crazy dream. Must have been that blue cheese I had last night. But that,
Oh, yeah,
really?
Bill. Definitely the blue cheese was the issue.
Yeah, OK, all right. Blue cheese. Were you actually asleep? Or was this a sort of a premonition?
Well, we'll find out.
Well, yes, we will.
Can we just confirm this is happening now, isn't it?
Yes.
We're not in one of Vicky's dreams, because that would be...
That would be brilliant, though, wouldn't it? You could be the March Hare, I'll be the Aztecs. Bring it on.
Let's get some blue cheese.
Well, Maxim Gorky, the great Russian writer, wrote this. On the subject of jazz, the dry knock of an idiotic hammer penetrates the utter stillness. 1, 2, 3, 10, 20 strikes, and afterwards a wild whistling and squeaking as if a ball of mud was falling into clear water. Then follows a rattling, howling and screaming like the clamour of a metal pig, the cry of a donkey, or the amorous croaking of a monstrous frog. The offensive chaos of this insanity combines into a compulsive, pulsing rhythm. Listen to this screaming for only a few minutes, and one involuntarily pictures an orchestra of sexually wound-up madmen conducted by a stallion-like creature who is swinging his giant genitals.
I am now having an anxiety dream.
That's a description of Jedward, isn't it?
Anyway, that's probably enough jazz. Here are 4 J birds. What immediately comes to mind when you look at them?
Wings.
Oh, it's J I'm after. There is something that allows you to recognise them that a bird spotter would call their...
Jizz.
Yes!
Yes.
You knew that?
Well, I'm a Twitcher, aren't I?
Yes!
Yes, jizz.
Quite right.
Jizz is an acronym, not... Don't think of where you might think it's going. It's the general impression, size and shape. And it came from, being able to spot planes in the war. You could spot the outline of planes from underneath. And it was a military term, jizz.
Yeah.
But birders use it as well.
Everything you say is believed by many, but unfortunately there's no evidence or provenance for that. So while you got the word absolutely right and there are points pouring your way for the actual explanation is not proven.
So there would be a book I could look up on the internet when I get home, Jizz on Birds, and that is fine?
Yes. Absolutely right.
I've got a lot growing up to do, is all I know.
The pop etymology is that it might be just is. In other words, you can't say specifically why that aeroplane is a Spitfire or that bird is a siskin. It just is.
It just is, yes.
Or even gist, the essence, the gist.
Oh, the essence, yeah.
But no one's quite sure. But the other kind of jizz is a contraction of the word jism.
Jism.
And what is the origin of what does that mean, jism?
What's the origin?
Jism, jizzar, jizzar, jizzar.
No.
I could tell you where it comes from. I could show you.
Yeah, no. No, you're not to do that.
Again.
Too late.
Yes. Jism has a meaning. Can you imagine what jism might mean? Jism means spirit or energy.
Ah.
Yeah.
Like a...
I withhold my jism.
Oh,
I
you
deny them.
Is that meant to encourage us? What's that doing?
It's spirit and energy.
Oh, yeah, sure. That looks like we're trying to sell some sort of massage CD.
Here's a top jizz fact.
Go on.
All right, imagine one little sperm.
Hang on.
Tiny, whiny little sperm.
Got it.
They're very, very small. You couldn't see it with the naked eye. All right. Now...
No bigger than an acorn.
You know about computers and memories and things. They have information on them, which is expressed in terms of bytes, kilobytes or megabytes. How much information do you think is in the DNA of one little sperm, just one?
I think it just says swim.
So that would be what, 1 bit?
1 bit.
1 bit.
1 bit of information, swim that way.
Either 1 bit or 1 trillion bits.
It's 37.5 megabytes.
Oh.
Which means that a normal ejaculation...
Talk about your hard drive.
...represents...
Is this just after you've logged off?
Yeah. Just going to plug in my dongle, Bill.
How many more of these can we... Before we go over the cliff?
As long as it's not a floppy, that's
You can still hold a lot in a floppy.
Yeah, you can. But a normal male ejaculation, if there is such a thing...
I came here to talk about the Aztecs.
Will you accept my personal apology, Victoria? Is the equivalent of 15 12,875 gigabytes. That's 15.8 terabytes. That's about 7,500 laptops worth of information in one ejaculation.
Gone to waste, just thrown away.
Well, not necessarily.
Down the end of a sock.
Stop it.
What? You started it.
Yes, jizz, as you knew as a bird spotter, is that indefinable something, the shape, the gait, the outline that allows you to identify a bird. But we have the 4 birds we showed you.
You're going to say we have some jizz.
No.
We have some birds you can identify here by their jizz.
We literally do. We literally do.
Oh, look.
Yeah, they all begin with J, that's your clue.
I'm going to say that's a jayhawk.
No, it's not a hawk, is it? Look at it. I mean...
What do you say?
How is that a hawk?
That is a hawk.
Down and picking up a rabbit?
That's not... That is to scale, Bill. That's the size of it.
Right. Oh, it's a long way off.
Have you
It's
seen
massive.
a hawk's beak and eye?
A hawk's, but yes, it's
A
not
hawk
a
has
common
got
hawk.
It's a raptor. That's not a raptor, that's a flipping flycatcher or something.
You are very good. It's a flycatcher.
It's a flycatcher,
He's
there you go.
good.
Yeah,
He's good.
Well, I was
don't mess with the Jizzmeister.
second on that.
No, you weren't.
I came
You weren't
second.
even close.
A hawk?
You just mentioned the type of bird.
Right,
That's
OK,
not
well,
coming
stick up the
second.
next one. I'm pretty sure...
That is
In
just...
medieval times, did they go out with them on a gauntlet?
That is
just-
Fly!
That is called a
Just-
blacktail.
Bring me a fly.
Just to finish it, that was a flycatcher. It was a Juan Fernandez tit tyrant.
God, here we go again.
Wait a minute.
Tyrant,
A Juan Fernandez tit tyrant.
Crested, spotty-chested member of the Tyrant Flycatcher
A
Company.
spotty-chested member.
Yeah.
There are points for knowing where the
This is
Juan
some-
Fernandez Islands are.
Juan Fernandez.
Breastcock Lane?
That's the spirit.
Getting into this very much. The Juan Fernandez Islands.
It's somewhere in
South America, somewhere.
Yeah, Chile.
Chile, yeah. Right.
Fair enough, yeah. OK, the next bird, this black one here.
It's
what's
some
that?
sort of... What is that? A bird of paradise? Was it? No, what
Got
is that?
massive green feet.
It's a weaver bird, in fact. If I tell you it's a weaver bird, you'll probably know it comes from...
Yorkshire.
A weaver bird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes.
African bird. It's Jackson's widow bird.
Jackson's widow bird.
The next one,
OK.
at least name the type of bird it is.
Jabiru, it's a stork.
And it is a jabiru.
Jabiru,
Correct
yes.
answer.
Yes, of course.
Very good. This man is good. That is a jabiru. It's a stork, and it can be 5 foot tall with a 9-foot wingspan. It's a hell of a stork. Well spotted, and this man is impressive.
Oh, thank you.
OK, and the last one.
Oh, it's very punk rock. It's from...
It's
I would say it's from the 70s.
Jedward.
We'll allow you that. I think it could be called the Jedward bird from now on. It does have another J word. Do you know what type of bird that is, Bill?
It's
Hawk.
No.
Look at the size of its beak. What? How can it pick up a rabbit?
It's actually...
Those are oranges.
It's a waxwing.
It's a waxwing,
It's
yes.
a Japanese waxwing.
Oh, it's a Japanese one.
Japanese
Ah,
waxwing,
okay,
found in Japan, China, and Eastern Russia.
Right.
Very good. OK. What did Watson do twice as often as Holmes?
Well, I don't want to say now. I guess he had more time on his hands.
Stick with it. Stick with it.
What did he do twice?
Oh, no, I do know.
Yes.
It's ejaculate.
Ejaculate is the right answer.
This is the one thing I know about Sherlock Holmes because it's in the book.
Yes.
It's an old term meaning to
exclaim.
Exclaim, yeah.
Expostulate. He constantly... But Holmes, I ejaculated. You get a lot.
I mean, the books are brilliant anyway, but
They
the
are.
idea, but that every 20 pages that happens, and you go.
Yes. Yes, there are 23 ejaculations in the canon, as it's known.
They call it a canon.
Canon is the...
And one up the spout.
Oh, Christ.
As in the word canonical.
Give to you the cannon. Stand back.
There's approximately 23 ejaculations 48 terabytes
So
of information
wishing.
coming your way. Stand by.
You're a very lucky lady.
Watson ejaculates 11 times.
Just on a bike.
Holmes, on one occasion, refers to Watson's ejaculations of wonder being invaluable to his art. Watson does ejaculate from his very heart in the direction of his fiancée. Holmes gives 6, but there is one where it's quite hard to tell who it is. So,
That can happen, Stephen.
who's ejaculating here?
Let's just imagine.
So he sat as I dropped off to sleep, and so he sat when a sudden ejaculation caused me to wake up.
He's having
Have
one
you
now.
ever been woken up by a sudden ejaculation?
You talked enough about your dreams. There's a fellow called Phelps in the wonderful story, The Naval Treaty. He ejaculates 3 times, actually. The only other ejaculator is Mrs. Sinclair's husband, who ejaculates from a second-floor window.
This is the most fun I've ever had on this show.
It probably would be. I'm not joining in with this, by the way. I'm not.
Quite
There's
right.
genuinely a point about Sherlock Holmes. He probably did ejaculate fewer times than Watson in the other sense as well. I mean, obviously they didn't exist; they're invented.
When he was married,
But doesn't he seem like he's constantly taking it out on the violin?
yes. And the injections of cocaine.
Drugs don't help, do they?
Well, what I'd say, some of them do. I mean, apparently.
The old,
Cheese.
the blue cheese.
The
is
blue
good for, isn't
cheese.
it?
So, now, who speaks in tones, harangues and declaims in a long, meandering cascade of sounds, syllables, stresses and intonations that might at first seem to be full of sense and meaning, but soon reveal itself to be an empty, vain, hollow and completely meaningless stream of gibberish?
You.
Yeah.
So who speaks a stream of gibberish that sounds intelligent?
This
to
is
begin
a
with?
technical term used by people who study such things to describe a stage of speech.
Tongues, speaking in tongues.
Oh, toddlers.
Like a baby.
Juvenile?
Ah, toddlers, babies, yes, you're in the right area.
Right.
There are phases.
Oh. Did they really need to add the little kittens there?
Yeah,
Was it not cute enough?
I know. It's so sweet, isn't it?
Look at the little baby.
Yeah. It's known as jargon, oddly enough. It's known as toddler jargon, where the rhythms and the intonations are like the language that is going to become the one they speak. So if they're Japanese, it will sound like Japanese, but not actually be Japanese. If they're Welsh or German or Peruvian, it will sound like their language.
So they get the structure, they get the syntax.
Yeah, they
before I get
because
the-
they've heard their parents. So it'll go like, I don't know, when you do it, I
I told
Is it
you
like,
he'd
so
come
basically
along and
small
ruin our
children
life.
are like Snoopy's teacher?
Yes, that's right, exactly. Long strings of syllables having varied stress and intonation in the same rhythm and rise and fall, the same cadences as English speech. Sound like whole sentences, but don't actually mean anything at all. Like Eamon Holmes.
Don't all kids get it at the same age as well? Sort of around
Yes,
what
more or
they-
less, that's the extraordinary thing. I mean, that's what Noam Chomsky discovered, the great linguist, was that language was pre-programmed.
If you're going to have a baby, you can go to a website and put your due date in, and then they will send you emails weekly telling what your development of the fetus is, and then after you have the baby, they will then send you emails weekly saying this is what your baby will be doing.
Good Lord.
And there are phases where it will be blowing spit bubbles, or
Yeah.
it will be... And it's astonishing. Every week it's right.
It's
I mean,
right.
Every week it's,
But
it's
wouldn't
exactly
it be
what your
slightly
baby will be
disturbing
doing.
if your baby was either ahead or behind? Would you not be freaked out?
Yes, you would be. It's in the early week, in the early first 3 or 4 months of this, all the little developmental stages are the same for all
Yes.
infants. It's really, really interesting. Learning to point, things like that.
It's miraculous. It is a phenomenal thing, the growth of a child, human child, obviously, and, as you say, the stages of inbuilt, programmed development of language and gesture, which seems to be predictable, as you say. And between that 12 and 13 months, you get that babble. Anyway, who first used the expression OMG?
Was it Hannah Montana?
It wasn't Hannah Montana.
My guess.
It's a good guess, a reasonable guess.
I'm guessing that in the past it's meant something else.
No, as oh my God.
Oh, my God.
Jesus.
Oh, my God.
Not
Well, that's technically right.
No, this is genuinely use of OMG in a communication.
Is it going to be on a Morse code?
No, though, funnily enough, you're in the right area. It was
military.
Kissinger?
It's not military, naval. It was two of the great naval figures of the First World War. Who was the First Lord of the Admiralty during
Churchill.
I've no idea.
Churchill. Churchill, Winston Churchill. But the great Lord Fisher, in 1917, wrote a letter to Winston Churchill saying, I hear that a new order of knighthoods is on the tapis, meaning on the carpet. OMG, shower it on the Admiralty. So there you are. Oh, my God.
What year was that, sorry?
1917.
OMG.
Yeah,
That's
OMG.
a really good fact.
That's a good fact, isn't it?
Can we be certain he meant, oh, my God? He might have meant...
Yes, no, he definitely did. He put, oh, my God, in brackets afterwards. He wrote OMG
that
brackets.
rather ruined the point of
Yeah, I
abbreviating
know.
to the second.
But as he was the first user, I guess he had to explain it.
OMG, by which I mean, of course, the longer expression, oh my God.
Oh, my God.
Eric Partridge's Dictionary of Abbreviations in 1942 contained dozens of SMS-friendly examples, such as AGN for again, MTH for month, and GD for good. So they pre-existed.
But I heard someone vocalise LOL. I actually heard someone said LOL as opposed to laugh. There was two kids in the street, you know, told them a joke, you know, she went, LOL, like that.
Rather than laugh.
Rather than laugh.
Yeah.
That's just some horrible post-Orwellian nightmare.
It is.
How amazing is that going to be at stand-up gigs if people just, an audience starts
Exactly.
going,
LOL. Yeah. Let's just try it. No,
hang on
after
a second.
three. I'll just say the word LOL with as little expression as you can. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. LOL. That's the...
Tim Minchin has actually suggested that because people don't laugh out loud when they say lol, that he suggests MAS, mildly amused smirk. Which would be quite good, because that's what happens.
Nelly is another one that you could have.
Yeah?
Nelly, N-E-L-I. Not even laughing inwardly.
But you'd be impressed to know that in 1659 is the first use of to unfriend, which we thought was a modern Facebook phrase. But to unfriend was used by Thomas Fuller, who wrote to theologist John Heylin, I hope, sir, that we are not mutually unfriended by this difference which hath happened betwixt us.
yes. And then I believe his friend wrote back that he liked that.
Yeah, he liked that. Anyway, where do Arabic numbers come from?
Oh,
What's that?
I don't know. Interesting fact, though, the Oasis is about 110 miles that way.
No, that's the chart position in... in the Yemen.
They're not as big, there, are
No,
they?
they don't like it.
Now, what do we mean by Arabic numbers?
We mean the ones that we use, don't we?
I presume you mean how people who speak or write Arabic
No,
numbers.
we call our numbers Arabic numbers.
do we? I thought our numbers... Oh, OK.
Roman alphabet
Right.
and Arabic numerals.
And Gregorian chanting. And French pastries.
But-
Danish.
You must know that. You must, come on, you
German
must know this.
mustard.
Is it Persia?
No, it's
Not going to be in
Persia.
Arabia, is it?
It's not Arabia.
It's just outside Arabia.
Sorry?
Arabia Parkway.
It's actually Hindu. In Arabic, they call them Hindu numbers. And in fact, in Arabic numbers, we have very little in common. You can see a car number plate here, and you'll see that on the left is 295994.
Oh, it's a bit
And on
new
the
money,
right,
isn't it? Yeah.
that is the Arabic for 295994. And as you can see, it's only the 9 that is actually the same.
So they're not Arabic numbers at all?
No,
They're Hindu
we
numbers.
tend to call them.
They're-
We should let's call them Hindu
We
numbers.
should
Hindu,
call them
yeah.
Hindu numbers. Exactly right.
Exactly.
Or
Exactly
we could
right.
call them numbers.
Yeah, but what's the fun in that?
Yeah, quite. I want you to tell me, because it's quite interesting,
Go on.
and that's the name of the game, which is the only number in the English language which, when written out, is in alphabetical order?
8.
No.
OK, well,
43.
7.
8 is good, but I comes after G.
OK, I'm going to have to guess because there's not enough time and I'm dyslexic.
I don't know. 1, 2, 2,
No.
3.
O comes before T. So they have to be in
Zero.
alphabetical
Oh, I
order.
see. Ah.
Yes, that's...
40.
40.
Yes! Well done!
Yeah, so
Very good.
Were you going through all the numbers? I was going through all the numbers at the same time that you were.
Yeah,
We've got
just
there.
Yeah,
counting.
40 is the one.
Yeah, Alan was on 3 when you said
You three were all talking and we're still
We're
going.
counting.
All right. What's the most difficult word to guess in Hangman?
Whatever you've got written there, I can tell you it's cull.
Cull.
Doesn't matter what you've got written, C-U-L-L. In the number of letters you get in Hangman, nobody ever says C or L. They'll go for U when they've gone through the other vowels. Then they've got blank U, blank, blank, and one turn left.
That's really good.
If you're going to play Hangman and you want to have a bet on it...
OK, all right. Have you played Hangman for money?
Yes.
Who plays Hangman for money?
Coren, she bets on anything.
You bet on...
I was about to say I've done everything for money, but I know what you do with that.
I really appreciate it. So, cull. OK, I think it might be something without any vowels. So,
No, because they go through the vowels, and if it's not there, oh, no vowels, must be rhythm.
Yes, but this is a four-letter word. So it might be lynx or onyx in that case. Oddly enough, though, someone has been very scientific about this, which you would appreciate as a games player. This person designed an algorithm to arrive at this conclusion, and he basically simulated 50 Hangman games for every word in the dictionary. That's 90,000 words, nearly 5 million games. He then took the 1,000 trickiest words, ran the game 3,000 times on each. In total, he played nearly 15 million games to reach the conclusion that actually the hardest is the word jazz. People just don't get the word jazz.
Really?
Or possibly jizz,
they
but
never-
no one knows if we tried
Never
jizz.
guessed Z.
The other words were Hajj, H-A-J-J, which is a difficult one. Jazz, lynx, apparently. Buzz was also difficult. And fuzz. Because people just choose Z as the last resort.
I mean, fine. Next time we're out in a bar, you play jazz, I'll play cull, we'll see who wins.
You got it. OK, but you've rather given away your strategy. Anyway, why was the March hare so important to the Aztecs? You see?
Thing is, Victoria, whatever you dreamt was the answer is the right answer.
Yeah.
No, but
Yes.
I know the answer isn't, did they worship it? Because... I think you'll find I said that's not the answer.
Yeah.
What the answer actually is... I don't know, why is a raven like a writing desk? It's that sort of question.
It is that sort of
Maybe
question.
for years people will now debate this. 50 years from now, people will be asking, why was the March hare important to the Aztecs?
There is a kind of answer that maybe your subconscious somehow knew. They worshipped rabbits, not hares.
Yeah.
So some part of your brain knew that Aztecs worshipped rabbits.
Honestly, Aztecs
Yes,
worship rabbits?
It's true.
I swear to you I didn't know that. That's really
I swear, and I think
There
people are going
are-
to believe me.
I'll go even further than this. There are many people who believe that the rabbits that the Aztecs worshipped were jackrabbits, which are, in fact, technically a type of hare.
And a J word, which makes
And a J word.
This
So,
is spooky.
Victoria
Weird.
Coren, burn the witch.
absolutely spooky.
You didn't see that one coming, and yet you did.
And I dreamt a thing that I didn't think I knew that you say is nearly a fact beginning with J.
Yeah.
This world is far more mysterious than we give it credit for.
Isn't it just? Anyway, now we come to our exciting jolly jape. I have a jigger device. Alan, you're going to have to help me with this. This is a device for fishing in the Inuit world of the Arctic, where, as you know, you think of ice fishing. They pop a hole in the ice and they sit forlornly with a little fishing rod, hoping for a fish. But a better way would be to have a net. But how can you put a net through thick, thick, thick ice? They've developed an extraordinary machine. Now, you have to use your imagination here. I've got this carpet, which I'm going to unroll. And here I have my device. Now, Alan, you're the one who's going to have to operate it. There you've got the string. Now, this is actually used by the Inuits to connect two holes distantly from each other, such the way that they can thread between them and therefore lay a net down and catch lots of fish under ice. That's it. Yeah, what you're doing is you're pushing with the string. But imagine this is upside down. This is the bottom of the ice.
Oh, yeah.
So we're actually upside down here.
Oh, wow, now I feel weird.
Whoa.
Oh, no.
I can't breathe.
Yeah. You can be
how is
bolder,
it-
be
how is
bolder.
I'm not getting any purchase on the rug.
That is what all the girls say.
Oh, I see. Right. It's a really...
Yeah, now I'm getting a bit of grip.
That's
oh,
it.
yes.
Cool, look at that.
Oh, look at me go now.
Now, you might want to watch it actually, really, as it works. There's the real thing, all right. There's an inwit.
We pull it again.
Oh, and the point is it goes under the water. He licks there so he can see it through the ice.
Oh.
And he digs it, and it is underneath. By pulling it...
Oh.
There we go. Ooh, ah, e.
Yes.
You see?
how
Now,
that works.
have a look this
Oh, no,
way.
there we go.
This is it under the ice.
How does
So-
it not sink?
But, yeah, exactly. How does it not just
It's
plummet?
wood, so it floats.
Oh, I see.
How does his tongue not stick to the ice?
That,
Like
and
in Dumb
then-
and Dumber. How is he not just going,
then when
oh,
it-
this was a terrible idea?
when it gets to the other end, he pulls up the rope from which you can then hang the net which catches the fish.
Brilliant.
But when you think about it, there's no other way you could do that. You couldn't just put a hole in the ice and then how do you get the string or the rope to the other hole in the ice? It's pretty clever.
Devilishly clever, though.
And this is... When did they invent this? Is this a recent thing?
It's about 100 years ago.
Wow.
Anyway, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Inuit fish jigger.
Oh.
I'm going to pop it away. Which brings us to the scores. I don't know whether to do this backwards or forwards. I'm going to go backwards, actually, with our last place. It's noble, but it's minus 22. Jimmy Carr!
I took a few for the team. I took a couple for the team.
But I'm always happy to see, in somewhere as high as third place, Alan Davis with minus 6. And, this is astonishing. With plus 10, Bill Bailey.
Really? First time out?
And the mad woman who dreams of Aztecs and hares, Victoria Coren on plus 13. Well, that's all from Victoria, Jimmy, Bill, Alan and me. Be gloriously good to each other. Thank you and good night.
Looking at how the country's economic boom is affecting people's lives, Anita Rani and Justin Roilet continue their journey across China on 4 wheels, tomorrow at 8. Next tonight on BBC HD, new comedy with the new series of The Thick of It.